Welcome to the City Current Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. Our mission at City Current is to power the good, and we do that through positive media, events, and philanthropy. This show features interviews with a mix of business and community leaders who discuss important efforts, trends, lessons learned, and ways to get involved so we can learn more about our community and work together to make a difference. Now, on to the show. Mark, we're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good. And we're honored to talk about baseball as we kick off the segment. So we're here with Brian Mayhood. He's the Vice President of Sales with Nashville Sounds. And Brian, how are you doing?
And we're doing great. It's great weather out there. It feels like baseball weather. We're excited for opening day. We're just a couple weeks away now, so we're in a good spot and we're ready.
Give us a little bit, for starters, though, a little bit of the history, because you're tied to the Milwaukee Brewers, but you were before to the Cincinnati Reds back in 1978, and you've had a ton of players go off into playing professional baseball in the MLB. So give us a little bit of the backstory, kind of the fun trivia, if you will, the history for Nashville Sounds.
Yeah. So, affiliations. It's a long conversation, but it's a fun one, right? So here in Nashville, if you grew up in the area, you probably grew up a Cardinals fan, a Reds fan, or a Braves fan. Well, geographically, those three big league teams, they have their AAA markets in a great spot. The Reds are in Louisville, the Cardinals are in Memphis, and the Braves have their AAA in Gwinnett, just outside of Atlanta. And so those are three great markets for AAA cities. They're not looking to, get to Nashville. And so we kind of in this geographic no man's land. And so over the years, we have a long history. We've been with the Reds, we've been with the White Sox, we've been with the Rangers, we've been with the Oakland A's. I mean, we have a pretty interesting history if you look back over our affiliation changes. But Milwaukee's been one of our longest partners. We actually had about a 10-year stint with them in the early 2000s and going into this new ballpark when it was built. And then we had a change to the Rangers and then and Oakland A's, and now we're back with Milwaukee. And now a lot of that is actually dictated from Major League Baseball's point of view. They part of the overhaul that has happened between Major League and minor league baseball through 2020 and the pandemic, they've taken a little more leadership in how they assign affiliations that makes sense for geography. And a lot of it is to try to reduce team travel. We used to be in the Pacific Coast League for a long time. And so we would go and our flights would be going to Tacoma, Washington and Fresno, California. And so part of the other overhaul, not just affiliation, is we have a new league this year, which is actually really exciting. If you're from the area, from the South, from Middle Tennessee region, we are in a newly created AAA East, and we'll be playing teams like Louisville. We'll be playing teams from Charlotte, Columbus, Indianapolis. These are all teams we haven't played against in decades. And so really excited to see some new Major League Club affiliations come to town. But honestly, we're going to play the Braves affiliate in Gwinnett. We're going to play Louisville with the Reds affiliate. We still get the Cardinals matchup with Memphis. So if you're a fan of one of those three big league teams, I mean, we're going to have those guys coming to Nashville twice a year, and it's going to be great. It's good. We'll see a lift in our fan attendance on those days. For sure.
A lot of great baseball. So walk us through from the business operational side, carrying 25 players. Give us a highlight of the roster.
Yeah. So again, one of the beauties of minor league baseball is, as a AAA affiliate, our business is about the fan experience, and our Major League Club actually gets to handle our roster in their assignments. And so right now, literally today, it's being decided. We're still, we'll be told what prospects we have coming. Major League Baseball and the teams, they put out these, top 10, top 20, top 30 prospect lists. We expect to have some pitchers that come in from that. We've got a couple guys. A guy named Zach Brown is potentially going to be here in Nashville. He's a prospect on that list for the Brewers organization. It's shaping up and it's competitive. So we'll see these final rosters, these spots start to come to light here. I mean, any day now we're going to get a better picture of who's coming from camp. And the beauty of AAA is, these guys, they're just one step away from the Brewers and big league. So we expect, guys are up and down, tweaking things. Hopefully it's not an injury related thing that they get sent back down, but hopefully we see prospects from Milwaukee come down and work on a few things. And so that's the beauty of minor league baseball is We don't necessarily have the control of it. We're here to help them develop and get up. And our main focus is making sure that the food and the experience in the stadium is first class, and the music's good, and ticket prices, and that's where our focus and attention usually stays.
Well, I do think it is neat that when you look at just the history, the legacy, over 900 players going and playing in the MLB. And so it's pretty cool to see just that legacy. But let's definitely talk about the fan experience. Talk about some of the protocols in place with the pandemic, some of the changes. Talk about the fan experience.
Yeah, so Metro Public Health has been great to work with at first. Their communication is great, and so they do. We have weekly back and forth with them. We share ideas. Here in Nashville, the sports community, we are constantly sharing best practices with Titans, Predators, and soccer. And we're all kind of learning from what the consumer behavior is, and trying to share tidbits back and forth on what will work and what won't work. But in short, here in Nashville, we're 25% capacity at the moment. Looking to scale up very, very soon, with Metro Public Health giving us some guidance. And pod style seating is a term that people are seeing a lot in their kind of sports live event experience. And so we're no different. We're offering up pods of 2, 4, or 6 seats in a socially distanced environment. And so those things we continue to work on. But our season ticket members get first shot. They get relocated around our seating bowl, and then it leaves us with very limited single game capacity. But we're excited that as we've went on sale for individual tickets, we've had a great response. People are excited to come to baseball games this summer. We are going to be following 6 feet social distancing. Masks are still required from Major League Baseball, helping us work through that process. And again, we take it month by month with both Public Health and with Major League Baseball and all their kind of player safety guidelines. There's a couple extra wrinkles that we'll be facilitating this year. Player buffer zones is another one that's new. Around the field level, near dugouts and bullpens, we'll have a few rows restricted for the players, and that's another Major League Baseball player safety guideline. And again, we'll just kind of go with the strides here and evaluate, share notes with our other teams across the country. And hopefully as the vaccinations continue to roll out and the community is safer here in Middle Tennessee, there could be a relief coming on capacity and how we alter the fan experience for more people.
And I think that's the key to your point. It's the local and state guidelines, but it's also MLB and the professional guidelines, and then sharing best practices from the other sports. So in the end, you're doing everything for the best safety for the fans and the best experience, but for the players as well.
Yeah.
Share a little bit about the food and how that'll work, because when you look at baseball, food is a big part of it. And so talk about food and concessions and what that means.
Yeah, so we have a great concession partner here. Centerplay does a great job. They have their own corporate policies to, again, have fan safety at the forefront of how we serve up our food. And so you'll see a few things more behind the kitchen is what you'll see different, and safety guidelines there are being followed. And so you'll see some more individually wrapped items that you normally wouldn't see. But for the most part, our menu will be pretty much full menu as a normal sounds experience. We're trying to, again, give our fans the most normal, ballpark sounds game experience as possible. So the beer will be cold, the hot dogs will be hot, and we're excited to serve that up to our fans.
Yeah, there you go. What are you personally looking most forward to?
Oh, 2020, obviously, we could go on about that year, and some people may not know, but we didn't have a baseball season here at the minor league level across the country. Major League Baseball was able to get their season started, but across the country there were 160 minor league teams that didn't play. And so for us here in Nashville, this opening day is going to be a little extra special. We are roughly close to 600 days without having any Sounds baseball at First Horizon Park. So that I'm excited for. It's been a long process. We spend a lot of time on the front office, planning and visiting and building relationships with fans, and having the games, honestly, is is the fruit of the labor. It's the satisfaction of all the hard work over many months. You get to opening day, the ballpark opens, the lights turn on, and so personally, I think a lot of our front office, we're going to be really excited to have that first game on May 11th.
What do you wish everyone knew about Nashville Sounds? Like, what's something you wish everyone knew?
Oh, you don't have to be a baseball fan to come to a Sounds baseball game. I think once people get here, they realize that. And if they haven't been here, if they're from the area, I think a lot of people don't know how different First Horizon Park is compared to Greer Stadium in a long history of Sounds baseball. There's a lot of people I meet that are from here that they associate Sounds baseball with an old experience at an older ballpark. And I think our job, if we can get them to First Horizon Park one time, they can see how great the experience is, how different it is, and it changes everything for them. Our ballpark is set up with great amenities. We have a great video board. We have great areas of hospitality, bar, restaurant, the food scene. And so really, you can come here and have a great night out, a great experience with friends and family. You don't have to necessarily be keeping score on your scorebook and watching every pitch to have a good time. We have those fans, and there's a spot for them, and they love it. But really, we have something for everybody. It's a great, just quality night out. With the ballpark being limited capacity, we've really stressed the urge. If you want to see Sounds baseball and you want to have seats, you want a good seat to the game, the trick is get it, come on in as a member. We have great benefits, great flexibility with ticket management. It's the best savings off regular price tickets for a single game.
And you also want everyone, when they do come out, to be rocking the Nashville Sound swag. So you have a shop there. So talk about the shop as we wrap up.
Yeah, our pro shop's great. Our team down there does a fantastic job of trying to keep fresh styles in all the time. You'll see us run a lot of different marketing, e-commerce specials. We'll usually have some flash sales here or there online. I would encourage anybody to be a subscriber to our Sounds email marketing. We will constantly be, one, providing information about the games and how to buy tickets, but two, if you want to score any type of flash sale discount to any of our merchandise, having our Sounds email, following us on social media is a great way to get any of our merchandise. We'll always be putting out new apparel as the summer goes on. You'll see us put new shirts, new hats on the rack. Of course, another plug for being a season ticket member is you get a discount in the pro shop. So again, one of those benefits to be a part of the membership team. So.
Well, Brian, greatly appreciate all you and your team do. Thank you for coming on the show. Looking forward to a great season ahead.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're honored to be with our next guest, Chris Whitney. He's the founder and director of One Generation Away. We're talking about fighting food insecurity. So, Chris, how are you doing?
Man, I'm doing well, Jeremy, and thanks for having me on the show, and look forward to spending some time with you.
Absolutely. So this is a personal calling and mission for you and your wife and your family. And give us a little bit of the backstory in terms of what led you to start One Generation Away.
Yeah, so we moved to Franklin, Tennessee, just south of Nashville about 17 years ago, from St. Louis, Missouri, to start a church of all things, and me and hundreds of others. And that was great. But in that process, I was praying one day and God just dropped this phrase in my heart, One Generation Away. And I just reserved a domain name because I didn't know what else to do with it, which sounds really crazy, man. Because I remember when bag phones came out and pagers and, so for me, that's really a crazy thing. So that's what we did. And out of that, we started a food ministry. And we moved here. We didn't know anybody. We had no financial support to start a church. And we started One Gen with nothing, just other than a dream and a vision, to end hunger.
And when you look at how far you've come, share a little bit of where you are today, and then we'll talk about the process and how you source the food and all that. But give us an idea of just some of the most recent stats for what you've been able to accomplish.
Yeah, so last year we finished up 2020. We did a little over 5 million pounds of food, so a little over 4.3 million meals, which is just insane, man, to think about, And so we did about $13 million on about a $1 million budget, $13 million of food on $1 million budget.
That's an impressive impact when you look at the ability to get that sort of ROI, if you will, in terms of the difference you're able to make. That's awesome. So let's dive into the science of how this works. Talk about how you source the food and where the food comes from, because I think this is a cool piece of the equation.
Yeah. So one of the second thing, so we started rescuing food. I know that sounds like a really funny term. People laugh about rescue like it's in danger. It is in danger of being thrown away. Like we're talking really good produce. We rescue from stores. Like our first store was Whole Foods. So anybody that's listening or ends up watching, Whole Foods, man, that's some nice food. And then we also pick up from like Fresh Market, Costco, Gordon Food Service, GFS, Kroger, Publix, just all kinds of stores. And then restaurants like Chick-fil-A, minor known restaurant that people know about, and Outback Steakhouse, just different places like that. So we rescue food 6 days a week. So imagine we're out every morning getting produce, and we have a Walmart distribution center we pick up from. And this will put it in perspective for some people. It's hard to get your head around this, but we could rescue anywhere from 5,000 to 30,000 pounds of food on a Friday morning just from one Walmart distribution center. All produce, fresh, beautiful produce.
And this is produce, though, that on their end is likely not able to then be on the shelf. So they have to remove it on a certain just time sensitivity standpoint. So to your point, it's either going to go in the landfill or it's going to be able to be put to good use on your end because they can't sell it to the customer on that side. So bruise, damage over time, like all these little things, then you have a chance to get it. But it's not that simple. So, when you talk about having the ability to pick up those items, volunteers, pickup trucks, refrigeration trucks, like there's a lot that goes into that. So unpack that a little further. It's not that simple.
So it's funny, because now when we talk about fleet of trucks. We started with a Hyundai Santa Fe. So if you're familiar, that's a small SUV. That was the first car that rescued food from Whole Foods. Now we have two 26-foot refrigerated trucks, a 16-foot refrigerated truck, another 26-foot truck that does our mobile food pantries. And then we have walk-in cooler, walk-in freezer, little over 8,000 square foot of warehouse space. Yeah, it's a crazy. The logistics of it are pretty amazing if you think about it. And the real cool thing, Jeremy, is what people need to understand too. It's like, so you think about, we started with a car. So we obviously had no place to store this food. So we had to give it away. So we would just drive into this low income communities and open up our car and literally just give it away. Well, I say in God's sense of humor, that just created our model. So to this day, every day we rescue food, it leaves the store, goes to a small food pantry we have a couple retirement towers. We deal with low income people, but the day we get it, it goes to somewhere else. And by that night, it's on someone's kitchen table. That's awesome. That's efficiency. And that's really putting the food to use as quickly as possible. We don't like to hang on to food very long if we can avoid it. We'd rather get it out, get it into the hands of people that need. Now we do hang on to non-perishable food items because that's another component of what we do with emergency food boxes and things like that.
Well, but that goes back to how you've been able to build your trust and integrity, and why when you look at these major brands, Whole Foods, Walmart, those sort of stores, that's why they trust you, is because you've built the network, but you are able to move it fast and get it to those who are most in need.
One of my board members said this, it's like we've asked people to prove they're sufficiently deficient to need help. And when you if you can pull yourself back for a moment and think about that is so degrading, and I just believe the first step out of a cycle of poverty or whatever it is you have to have some sense of value and worth. So our job is to use food to bring value and worth to people, to let them know that, man, we care about you. We love you enough to go get this food, bring it to you, and make sure that you're going to have the food you need so that your kids can eat, go to school, or that our elderly population, we have elderly people in this country making decisions between food and medicine. Now that's insane that we've got people. We live in the 7th wealthiest county in the United States of America, here in Williamson County in Tennessee. And we've got people making decisions between food and medicine. That's just, we can't let that happen, especially over a commodity that would just go in the trash can if we weren't going to go get it. And so we have we've got a great team, and they're fantastic at what they do. And as you said, we want to make sure we bring honor, dignity to a segment of our population, but we also have to bring honor and dignity to the back end of a store. We have to, it's on their timeline, on their time frame. So we're there completely to serve the people we rescue food from, because guess what? They've got to open a store. They've got timelines they've got to meet as well. So there's a lot of moving pieces, as you said, in the whole processes. And then we get to go back to those stores and tell the stories of the people we give it to. And then that gives them the joy to go, how can we give you more? How do we get, and that's the symbiotic relationship we've been able to create. And it's been beautiful.
Carry that forward on both ends in terms of starting small and building up to your point, where it's like, the more you tell those stories of impact, the more the stores and the restaurant, they want to help. And then on the other side, the more you're able to open up your arms and say, here we go, we can feed you, the more the people open up and start coming out and trusting you and realize that, hey, this is a powerful opportunity to feed their family. So talk about that growth on both sides.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. And I wrote this book called The Dirty Church. And what I wrote about it, I heard a guy say, speaking one time, that consistency trumps commitment. And when he first said it, I walked away, oh, that's crazy, because I'm all about being an all-in guy. And I know you are too, man. You either dive in, or you know what I mean? You just, all the chips on the table, let's go. And but I came home and started thinking about that. I went, he's right. So our thing is being consistent and showing up, not just to the stores, but to where we deliver. So I said this, it says, commitment leads to consistency, which leads to credibility. Then that leads to an open heart to receive, which finally leads to impact. We live in this microwave fast food society, so we always want things now. But I've learned, starting small and getting to where we are now, and as we continue to expand, that this isn't going to happen overnight. We're not going to fix this overnight, and we got to be okay with that, right? It's not going to be fixed right now. It's going to take time, but over time, with vision, consistency, we can end hunger. We really, really can. And then because more people, like you said, engage with us, they want to be involved, more volunteers show up. We're run by volunteers, man. We have a staff of 10 people. But we have thousands of volunteers. And so we have this huge volunteer army. And Jeremy, I really have hope for the world. I know a lot of people pick on our millennials a lot, but they're extremely cause orientated. And my generation, we weren't necessarily cause orientated. We're willing to fund things, but we didn't have the legwork to go out and get it done. Now I believe we've got a blend of the two. So if we can figure out how to get those two groups along together, we can really have an impact on this country and ending something that I believe is just very simple to end, and that's hunger, because the commodity's available. It's just a matter of getting it and getting it where it needs to go.
How has this work changed you personally?
Oh my gosh, man, we don't have enough time for that one. Humbled me. Overwhelmed me. I mean, I get up every day and think, man, people look at me and they think I know. I go, man, I have no idea what I'm doing. The only thing I knew about food was I like to eat it, seriously. And I was never logistics. I sold insurance, man, pastored a church. I had nothing to do with trucks. And it's kind of cool. I tell people it's like being a kid and having adult Tonka toys, so that's kind of fun. And so I love that part of it, but it has changed my perspective of humanity, of the people that we're so quick to judge that they're so different than us. And the whole pull yourself up by your bootstraps thing. I tell people, I said, you need to buy them a pair of boots first. And then they kind of look at you and cock their head. And I go, they just don't even have any boots. So some of the cliches I think we've created, it's really brought that barrier and stripped that stuff away from me. And then I've also realized how close I am to being where they are and how close they are to being where I am. That line is really thinner than we think, a lot thinner than we think it is.
Yeah, very, very well said on all fronts. So how can we help? How can the community help you?
Obviously, you can go to our website, onegenaway.com, and we have a Join the Movement button. And you can sign up to volunteer. All of our mobile food pantries that we do on Saturdays are listed on there. We'll do almost 40 of those locally here in Middle Tennessee. And then we'll do another 14 or 15 in Alabama and another 6 in Florida from Hurricane Michael, still in Panama City. So you can join the movement. You can give. Every dollar donated is $16 of retail food, 6 meals for every dollar. I mean, we stretch a dollar very far. We're very frugal with what we do, obviously because we get a lot of food given to us. But, you know, it doesn't, as you mentioned earlier, just because people give us food and it doesn't happen by osmosis. You know, our fuel bill is $1,500 a month. You know, we're driving trucks and moving and so those are the ways that people can help us. There's some volunteer opportunities at our warehouse as well, bagging food. We get food, bulk rice, bulk beans, you know, that need to be put into smaller packages. There's a lot of ways people can do that. Follow us on social media, all of our social media channels.
What's one thing you wish everyone knew about One Generation Away?
Wow, man, boy, that's a hard question. I wish you knew how much we care for people and how efficiently and well this thing runs. That's what I wish you knew.
Chris, greatly appreciate all you, your family, your volunteers, your team. Everyone does. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks, Jeremy. Hey, man, have a great day.
Thank you for watching the City Current Show, which is produced by City Current with funding provided by Lipscomb & Pitts Insurance, a Higginbotham company. To learn more about each of the guests, to share your stories of others, leading by example, or to watch past episodes and more media focused on good news, visit our website at citycurrent.com or follow along on social media using the handle or hashtag CityCurrent. We look forward to seeing you again soon and thank you for all you do to power the good.